As a dietitian, I find that many women know what to eat, but struggle to do so as they battle with binge eating, emotional eating, comfort eating, or restrictive diets. As the stress of trying to conceive increases, disordered eating is often exacerbated. In today's episode of Nourish, I'm going to chat with a very special lady who herself has been through and come out the other end of trauma. Stay tuned. Welcome everyone. Today I'm honoured to have Susan Bridgette with me, author of One Day in Heaven. I read, or should I say devoured, Susan's book curled up on the couch in one afternoon. Susan's story is one of heartbreak, regret and ultimate restoration. In her teens, she experienced a sequence of events that ended in her making, well, in her words, the worst decision of her life. She underwent an abortion which impacted her in ways that she could never have imagined. For decades, she carried her secret guilt and grief with her. Let me warn you, it's a tearjerker, but there is a happy ending. Before I introduce Susan to you, I'd just like to elaborate why I've brought her in to talk about this subject. As a dietitian, my goal is to help women to eat well so that they can optimize their fertility or pregnancy. Yet over and over again, I find that guilt and grief impact what women choose to eat. On that note, let me introduce you to Susan. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you, Melanie.
So, Susan, your book is such a powerful read. It just, really touched my heart, as I said. You describe your story as being one of trauma, followed by one of restoration.
Yes.
So, could you provide us with just a brief overview?
Yes, when I was 19, I had two events leading up to my other traumatic event, and I found that those other two previous ones, plus finding out at 19 I was pregnant with an unexpected pregnancy, just took me to a place where I just couldn't function. And the doctor basically said to me, "We need to take you in, you need an abortion." Didn't ask me if I wanted it. And before I knew it, I was in the clinic, not even knowing what an abortion really was. And from there, it became after the abortion, there was a lot of trauma after it, the post-traumatic stress, which is understandable. And I've just carried that guilt and that shame and the grief with me for the following 40 years as a very deep secret that I'd never told anybody until writing the book.
Wow,
So
amazing.
Yes.
And are you able to describe to us, I guess, how did the abortion impact upon your emotional well-being?
It's something they don't tell you when you have an abortion is they say, look, it's your body, it's okay, do what you want, but they don't tell you that it leaves lasting effects every area of your life. It doesn't matter, little things can trigger the guilt and the grief and the shame. And I think what happens too is your heart closes down a little bit because you're trying to protect yourself, so you can't fully give your love to people like you'd like to. And so, it's just, it does impact every area, and you're carrying it with you 24/7. It doesn't leave you. It's stuck down deep in there, and it's sort of, something that becomes part of you.
Yeah. And did you regain control? And if so, how on earth did you manage to get through? What was for you a real trauma?
Yeah, I did eventually. It's taken me 40 years, so I hope it doesn't take other people that long. And my getting back my life, I suppose, and the biggest step was forgiving myself. It took a long, long time. But with the help of professional people such as yourself and some counsellors and people like that, I was able to slowly start unpacking the layers of guilt and the grief and the trauma, and just get back to a place where I felt that I was actually a reasonable human being again, because you do really become, you feel insignificant. I did. My journey was I felt very insignificant, and it was only, that I knew I had these people I could trust, because once before I tried to reveal my story to someone and it didn't go too well. So finding people I could trust and they could walk with me through that journey, and people like yourself that just have empathy and compassion, and slowly you can walk out the other side, but it does take a bit of work, especially when it's been so long.
Yeah, absolutely. And so where are you today with your journey?
Well, I think, and it's only in the last few years that, the forgiving of myself, writing the book, it in itself was a healing journey. Right. It was really healing. It took me 3 years to write it. It wasn't easy to write because it was a very emotional journey. And certain times I'd get to spots and just couldn't keep writing. But today I've ended up, coming out the other side, and I feel that because I've let go of this deep, dark secret, it's like I've been set free. And I've come out the other side, and, as you know, I turned 60 just in December.
Not that you look at it all.
I don't act it. And in the last 2 years, 2 years, I've learnt to paint and become an author, and now I'm writing children's books. So it's amazing and this was all locked down inside. It was locked up in that emotion. I was too scared. The fear that held me back from doing things I wanted to do and wanted to get out there and try. And that was part of, my journey again. It was just that fear, and now I just feel free to do it. And once again, it's a bit of a journey, but it's been exciting, and it's still very exciting.
Oh, that's so exciting to hear. And I guess, again, that's why I wanted to bring you on today, is because I just see this with so many of my clients that their grief and trauma is holding them back from being the woman that they really want to be. And like I said earlier, just impacting upon the way that you eat and just every part of life.
Everything. The way you mother, the way you relate to your husband, partner, whatever. It just impacts everything. The way you look at yourself especially. Really how you look at yourself. And really, some of us are put in positions where it wasn't our choice. It wasn't something that you wanted to do, but you were made to do it. And even if you did want to do it, it's still the after effects. And, if I can just encourage girls to, seek out professional advice like yourself and your staff, and just people that are compassionate and caring, I think, they really will come into a place of being free to be who they're intended to be.
Well, that's a great space to leave it. So thank you so much for joining us today, Sue. Susan's book touched me because it's written with such honesty and vulnerability. And for years, I too had struggled with my own secret guilt, but of a different source that overshadowed my life. I too am blessed to have dealt with my shame and have overcome and come out the other side. But I have first-hand experience of how guilt can infiltrate every part of your life. And I speak to so many women who try to fill their broken heart with food or punish themselves with starvation. I'd highly recommend that you do try and grab a copy of Susan's book. We'll link to the details in the notes below. And can I just encourage you that if you're struggling with secret guilt, please don't suffer alone. Reach out. You're not alone. As a dietitian, I find that many women know what to eat, but struggle to do so as they battle with binge eating, emotional eating, comfort eating, or restrictive diets. As the stress of trying to conceive increases, disordered eating is often exacerbated.
Oh, sorry.
And and we'll leave it from there.